Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 234 for the week of November 3rd, 2015. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager, wondering when we're going to renumber.
Never.
Bryce.
Jim Jokisch.
Toby.
And Charlie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So Jim just corrected me from a couple of podcasts ago that I've called a certain part wrong, that I've called them Jubilees, and he calls them, what do you call Jubilees? Jubilees?
Jubilees.
Now, I have to be honest here. No one here fucking corrected me about it, and I never heard it said out loud before. I always, Ebas, the kind of, risque-ish artist sometimes, he keeps writing posts, and he goes, Jubilees, and I thought he said Jubilees. I didn't know what
Can't you ask Google how to pronounce it?
Jubilees, I didn't know that.
I've never heard of either, so you're
wonder.
good. You're good.
Another word for boobs.
All right.
Titties. I thought they were Jubilees. Now
Okay.
I feel like a retard. Thanks.
Well, now they
Jubilees is
can
kinda,
be.
like I said, Jubilees is kind of pervish now. Jubilee from X-Men. I know
Right.
why you're going Jubilee, but still.
No, I didn't do it because of that. I would read Ebas's posts and I thought he would say Jubilees. I don't know. They're double O's.
It's only if they're Asian or you
Juggalo.
find them in a mall. So
Juggalo.
It's
or,
okay.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's all good.
Juggalo. Did we just lose Bryce?
No.
You just replace boom, Bryce gone. There's
Now,
sword.
Are those, is the difference like how much you can hold?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Bryce was here briefly.
It's never
nice.
And he is
Bryce.
and he is leaving in a minute, so say goodbye to Bryce. However, he will hopefully be back next week for a regular episode.
He's taking that bathroom break he said he wasn't going to.
We had not a lot of comic news this week, but there's a lot of TV shows on, some TV show news. So we're gonna hit up a few things here, a lot of TV show stuff to talk about, and then we'll get to your questions. So I only have two comic book things, even remotely, to talk about here. One of them was suggested by Toby, but there's nothing to really talk.
It's the most important news of all time.
But there's nothing to really talk about.
Chuck Dixon's Birds of Prey is finally out after working in the comic book industry since 1995.
Bryce didn't drop a beer on that, did he?
No.
Okay, good.
It got moved.
It's so beer phobic. It was a little puddle, and we cleaned it up with water and paper towels and fucking Clorox.
It still smells like beer.
Where was Clorox?
I never saw any Clorox.
Yeah, me neither.
How drunk am I?
Well, one thing is, yes, the Chuck Dixon Birds of Prey is coming out in trade paperback this
I've
week.
been waiting for that ever since I worked at a comic book store.
But we knew about this months ago. That wasn't the
But
news.
it's real. It's in my hands.
it's
I'm
real.
touching
Physical.
it.
He's touching
I've
it.
licked it.
Also, Sandman Overture hardcover came out this week. The other thing I never thought was going to be real.
Oh, that was not my suggestion
That book
to talk
finishing.
about, though.
I know. No, your suggestion to talk about here was Marvel announcing that the next line in their Imagineer comic for Disney, it was appropriate because it was at Disneyland for Halloween this past weekend, they're going to be doing a Haunted Mansion comic book.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. Unfortunately, no.
And this is the one you're going to get the retailer
Well-
variant for, right? No matter what the amount is you have to order?
Maybe. I mean,
Well, they've had a Haunted Mansion comic before through slave labor when
Yeah.
they had that small
Yeah.
line of Disney books.
which is real weird. But they never did anything else with it. So
It was a good comic, though.
yeah, I never got a
like
chance to read it. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for this. I did read I didn't read the Figment ones, but I did read the Big Thunder Railroad, which I thought was all right. So I'm more Haunted Mansion. I'm always down for Haunted Mansion. But just literally half an hour before we started recording here, what I think is actually some of the bigger comic news to come out this week. Jeff Johns on Twitter posted that himself, Ivan Rice, and Joe Prado, the creators behind the New 52 relaunch of Aquaman, will finally, after 2 years, actually finish their Aquaman run in the Rise of the Seven Seas event or miniseries or graphic novel.
I think it'll be an event.
We don't know what they're doing, but this was teased at the end of the Aquaman run by them, and it never actually happened. So 2 years out, and here we're getting some goodbye, Bryce.
Larson Bryce is leaving us.
Hi, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel is better than DC.
Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. Listen to Bryce Briefly, episode 3, up right now. Go do it. I'm always excited for more Jeff Johns Aquaman. So I am
You're
down
just
with
excited
this.
for more Jeff Johns.
Well, yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, well,
you
of
put
course,
Jeff Johns on a book, and it's going to be good, and I'm going to read it. And
we
so is
haven't-
Ryan, and
I haven't.
Man, Marvel sales would spike at this store if Johns did a Marvel book again.
Dell. Yeah, I mean his run of Avengers was pretty good.
It was?
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, the Red State stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, with
I didn't think it sold very
or Red
well,
Zone.
though.
I mean, sorry.
Did it sell well?
Yeah, it did. But that was before he got real
Exploded.
big.
Yeah.
I mean, Avengers.
But
was,
Marvel did re-release that trade as a Jeff Johns
right.
Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, Avengers.
But they haven't put out an oversized hardcover yet.
So Charlie doesn't own it.
I mean, the Avengers were big at the time, leading up to Bendis taking over. So yeah, but no, his run was
It was like
pretty
20
successful.
issues, right? 30?
I don't think it was that long.
Thought it was at least
No,
20.
it's just one trade, isn't it? It was like
No, I
20-something
thought it was
issues.
two
It might maybe 2 years, maybe 24,
24.
but I don't think it's anything more than that.
Yeah, I think it was a complete Jeff Johns, the
there's
trade.
two volumes.
Yeah.
Oh, was there two?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was wrong.
Perfect for one nice hardcover.
We know.
I'm just saying.
Get it, Charlie.
Charlie, are you getting that omnibus that came out today? The Buisick?
Kurt Busiek
Joyce
and-
Perez, Kurt Busiek.
I'm actually more interested in the Sixth Gun hardcover up there right now.
Yeah, I thought for a second we'd have Jim and Charlie fighting over it.
Nah, I'm good.
fight.
My omnibus is all covered. So
We don't have enough fighting here.
Hey, you don't like the Scarlet Witch, the Slave Leia, and Buisick run?
I do.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
The artwork is amazing in it. I just never got into it. I never got into that run of the Avengers.
All right.
Oh, the Busiek Perez stuff
Yeah.
is
Yeah, it's pretty good though, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's
Some
what
of
most
the-
people like.
yeah, some of the best.
I just like the 80s stuff better
That
with
was,
brown coats.
that was also during the time frame that they came out with the JLA Avengers.
yeah, yep.
Yep. So JLA Avengers crossover.
Oh, yeah.
Big.
Yeah,
Big.
I owned a nice hardcover for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which Charlie years later bought also. He did not buy it when I bought it. But years
Well, it was
later,
really, really expensive, like
That it is.
per issue.
that it
when
was.
that first came out, and I just
I couldn't help it,
couldn't
man.
do it. But years later, I came across it again, and I'm like, well, fuck, now I have to.
Because it's in the size of the absolute size, yeah.
The out of print hardcover is really, really nice on that one. Oh man, the splash pages on that thing. Is just,
I have to
wow.
say that was the first time I bought a expensive hardcover book.
Wow.
That's it was just
Yeah.
too good to pass up.
And
but,
it comes with the companion and everything.
yeah,
too,
it was
so,
just with the unreleased issues and stuff like that. It was just too good to pass up. But
Yeah,
man, they ripped me off on that one,
The companion book.
money wise.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd pay any price for that. The companion book was the best part. I mean, the
Yeah.
main series is amazing, but the companion book was
Yeah.
Even-
Well, for me, it was a chance to get to see all the George Perez artwork that
Right.
wasn't published. So I was like, I'm not passing this up. But damn, $75 back then, which now is considered not so expensive anymore compared to all these
Yeah,
new
compared to
omnibus.
the $200,
Yeah.
Well, but
vibranium edition.
But a lot more, though.
the thing that gets me about that, and the reason why I had the sticker shock of like a per issue thing, is up until that point they were sort of testing the waters with sort of the absolute format. This was one of the early ones, but they were sort of testing the water, and you had stuff like Hush come out that was
12 issues?
or 10
12.
12 issues for like the same price versus that, which were 4 and then like the bonus material book.
Yeah, but the bonus was unreleased, never to be seen again. Well, I don't know. Maybe
Well,
it's in the softie, but
no.
at the time, that's what they advertised it for.
After this conversation, maybe it will be released.
well, they're both out of print now.
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, softcover's been out of print for a while now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad I bought it then.
Yeah. Oh, when I finally got it years later, I was very happy that I finally got it years later. But it was still one of those things where
It was just
I
a
do
reverse.
the math on a price per issue on anything I'm buying, and
See,
that
you-
one gave me pause.
You were actually thinking with your head, and I was just thinking with my heart because I was George Perez doing Avengers
Yeah.
at LA. Everybody, I have to have it.
Yeah.
Realistically, if I was really thinking with my head, I would not have had to wait till years later buying it. Thankfully, only at retail price, but at like full retail price when I could have just got it discounted at the time.
Oh. All right.
So you win on that one, Toby.
Yes,
You
finally.
win.
I rarely win against Charlie.
Well, continuing some love for Jeff Johns, I was going to say I've been catching up on the Justice League book for Darkseid War, and man, no, hands down, best superhero book being published these days. Best, like, quote unquote traditional superhero book. I always like Justice League, but they've ramped it up to a whole new level with this Darkseid War. So if you're not current, definitely check it out because it has been just my favorite book. I mean, he nails classic superhero stuff just so well, and the scale Darkseid vs. Anti-Monitor has been just so good. very curious for that to see how it wraps up.
Cool.
I'm actually also really digging the mini series that are coming out of it now.
The one-shots,
The one-shot Batman was really good.
Yep,
and
yeah.
of course, we have 2 more this week.
Yep.
The Superman and the Flash.
Yeah, I like because the whole Batman one was about him trying to,
Zooming around in his chair going, I know everything.
Yeah, and it ends with, him kind of being like, yep, time to take down the Joker. So I really want to see what's going to happen. I wonder how they're going to play that
so
off.
let me get this right. Batman knows everything, but in the end, after knowing everything, he still just wants to take down the Joker.
Well, the second question he asks the chair is, who is the Joker?
Oh.
Yeah, in the comic. And he's like, no, it can't be. Like, so he had some sort of...
Well, the thing I really, really liked about the way they handled the Batman one is there's some really good character interaction towards the beginning between him and Jim Gordon because Batman's hauling in bad guys before they commit the crime.
Oh, wow.
Like with the chair, he knows...
It's Batman Minority Report.
Yeah, he knows exactly what people are going to do, so he goes and arrests them before they murder anybody or steal anything or do anything.
I'm just like imagining this book now. Batman shows up, beats people up. Why'd you beat me up? I'm Batman. You're about to commit a crime.
Well, there's these guys that were on their way to rob a casino,
okay,
I want to say, or something like that.
Ocean's 13.
Basically, they're on their way to rob a place. Batman just shows up, and they get out of the car, and he's like, well, are you going to turn yourself in? They say no. He teleports them to Antarctica and leaves them there. So
cold, literally.
Yeah. But I am sort of enjoying the fact that, in general, they're using this as an excuse for Batman to explore and answer all these questions he's had over time. So it's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Especially if you keep in mind it's connected, it's a weird time in comics because this doesn't really tie into anything else that DC's doing, and I can't really tell if it's supposed to happen before current or if it's just his own universe at this point, but I'm loving it.
No, it's the Justice League's kind of doing its own thing now, which is perfectly fine. That's what they've been doing with all the events.
I'm not complaining at all in terms of the quality of the story. It's one of those things where you would think all this stuff going around with Batman on the chair would have played out somehow within like the Batman book if they were the same universe. Like, I'm not saying they need Batman in the chair in the Batman book,
right?
But it makes me wonder: is this
it's
it's
well, it makes me wonder if Bruce is just Bruce and they're split somehow.
They've said that these events, after the fact, they will make some sort of acknowledgement of when they kind of take place, but they're not going to do it during it.
Okay.
Because Bruce obviously is a Batman in the Batman comics.
Yeah.
Right? And so it has been for some time. So
Yeah. Any event, I totally concur with you that in terms of the most interesting things that DC is doing in comics right now are sort of the Justice League and the spin-off books, I find.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, there is not much comic-specific news for this week, but obviously a lot of stuff related to comic books. I do want to talk about this Preacher trailer that came up. If you guys saw the Preacher
Howard
trailer.
Stark?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dominic Cooper as Jesse Custer. So as far as I know, they've only filmed the pilot, but I believe it did get picked up for that full first season. So
is that a full first AMC season, which is 6 episodes?
It might be. I don't know. But as far as I know, they did pick it up for a first season. So I believe we're getting Preacher. I don't know if they've dated it. I would assume early.
I think we're getting it probably before Walking Dead comes. So it'll probably it might be a summer release,
August, September or something.
Yeah, if they do it, with their current schedule, they would probably do Preacher and then Fear the Walking Dead and then Walking Dead.
Well, it's going to be Into the Badlands, then Preacher.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, Into the Badlands starts this month.
November. Yeah,
but it only runs for a couple of months, right?
I don't care. It looks awesome.
It looks like something.
That's okay. Ryan and I are just going to disagree tonight. It's going to be awesome.
We'll see. I don't know. I hope it's amazing, but it could be fucking shit too. That's I'm really scared about that show because I'm curious about it. But
I'm very curious about it. But that's about it.
Do any of you watch Hell on Wheels? Preacher?
No.
I never got around to it.
I just got caught up with season 4. That's really good.
But Preacher, obviously based on the Garth Ennis comic book, Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, Vertigo comic from late 90s. So I understand that the show is going to follow many elements from the comic, but I don't know what the point of this trailer was, because this trailer...
It's a little misinformative.
It has nothing to do with the comic book.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like this is just a kind of teaser of like, here's scenes from the first 5 minutes of the episode.
That's the only thing I can figure.
Because this can't be the plot of the show. It's set up in the trailer that Jesse Custer is a drunken preacher who had a past as some sort of... I mean, it comes off like hitman or
like a mobster
right.
enforcer,
right? And then so he helps this kid kind of get back at his dad for beating him up, whatever, right? Because his dad's a bad guy, and so he ends up getting arrested and thrown in jail. Nothing like that is in the comic book. I mean, Jesse Custer in the comic, he was a good kid corrupted by his fucked up grandma and family. Meets Tulip, his girlfriend, who is Tulip even going to be in the show? There's like another girl.
I don't know, but he's a good kid that gets corrupted, and then he kind of goes wild and parties and stuff, and then kind of snaps out of it and goes back to wanting to he becomes a preacher. Yeah,
he's kind of forced into becoming the priest for this small town, kind of to appease his family. But then Preacher starts. The event of Preacher happened, where the demon of the spawn of a angel and a demon,
Genesis entity,
leaves heaven, merges with him, destroys his entire congregation. He teams up with his ex-girlfriend, Tulip, and her friend, Cassidy, an Irish vampire, and they go to find God to kick his ass and yell at him and be like, what happened? Why have you abandoned humanity? And, like, absolutely none of that is in the trailer. So I don't know what is up with this trailer. I mean, I'm going to watch the show. I'm hoping... Maybe they're just playing that point down.
I just hope they say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm really curious, because this trailer has nothing to do with the comic. So, weird choice. I guess if you haven't read the comic...
I guess because I've read the comic, based on just the trailer, I kind of don't have any interest in the show. But
because it's nothing to do with the comic.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I have to assume this is like some super early... Just kind of, we're just going to get the character out there so people see what he looks like, what he acts like, and get feedback or something, because this is not Preacher in any fashion. So if it's rogue Preacher that goes around kicking people's asses every week, Burn Notice style, I mean, I'll watch it, I guess, but it's not the comic. So, real bizarre. I don't mind if they make changes, but...
And the sad thing is that the Preacher comic itself, I mean, we've wanted to see something, in TV or film or whatever, because it's such a great story.
Oh, yeah.
And, TV is a great place for a lot of these Vertigo titles, because then they can take their time, they can expand out. You know, like watching Scalped, a Scalped TV show would be fantastic. Watching DMZ as a TV show would be fantastic. Like there's so much potential in Vertigo titles as television shows that Preacher is one of the ones that, that's a top tier book.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do the comic book justice, The Walking Dead does so successfully because it keeps the essence of The Walking Dead. If this show doesn't have the essence of Preacher, then it's just some show. I
mean, Walking Dead changes stuff all the time, but it has that... it starts in a similar place. You have enough to kind of take from the comic and expand on it. All the Marvel movies up to this point have had or I should say, most of the Marvel movies up to this point have had a similar approach. Why you would name something and then have it have absolutely nothing to do with the source material, to me, feels really strange. Right.
Wanted comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even. Yeah, no.
Wanted had nothing to do with
I heard,
it. It was had nothing to do with the comic book.
It was bad.
Yeah. Not a movie I will watch.
I think it was just so they could get somebody smacked in the face, which was Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah.
Smacked in the face with the keyboard, and then as the letters are coming off, it spells "fuck you."
Yep.
Yeah.
So a couple more bits of news here. Actor Tommy Flanagan, recently in Sons of Anarchy, is going to be added to Gotham Season 2.
Ooh, nice.
There is a... he's apparently playing a character called The Knife, who, as far as I can tell, is not a real character. So, Gotham's had its ups and downs with original characters. A couple have been okay, a couple have been really shitty, so we'll see. But Gotham has been pretty solid this season, so I will be curious to see if they add him. Brock, I know you like Sons of Anarchy, so...
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy is really good. He's I think he was the guy that played that. Does he have like a scar on his face?
Yes.
Yeah, he played the Irish guy.
Also, there's been a lot of weird rumors around the Iron Fist Netflix TV show. There was
movie now, maybe?
Well,
but nothing's been confirmed.
So be a Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Daredevil Season 2.
Yep.
Luke Cage, as far as I know, is happening. It's a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And Iron Fist is kind of weirdly up in the air. The first rumor I read, was that it was actually being canceled completely. And they were going to do a Shang-Chi series instead. The second rumor I heard was that it was going to be canceled completely and become a a cinematic movie. The third rumor I heard...
It was Netflix exclusive.
The third rumor I heard is that it is going to be not a series, but now a Netflix original movie. So, I don't know what the hell is going on with Iron Fist. I hope it's just 13 episodes, just like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and don't dick around and then get that Defenders thing out.
Although it's going to be really interesting if they are choosing to do a Iron Fist movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
And taking all that money into 2 hours or hour and a half instead of 13 episodes or 12 episodes.
Well, along those lines, with the Iron Fist possible cancellation is because also they announced that they possibly wanted to do a Punisher series.
Right.
In lieu of doing the Iron Fist series.
You could do that anyway, still. Punisher's,
Agreed.
No, yeah.
I mean, why couldn't they do it as well?
I find this very intriguing if they are going to the movie route, because then we could have special, like, lower tier movies. Yeah. Not lower tier in character, but, the street level guys that have movies and TV shows.
New Warriors might actually get a movie.
Yeah, but, I can see a Punisher Netflix movie. I can see a Iron Fist, Netflix movie. Maybe a Moon Knight movie. Instead of
well, they've already talked about a Moon Knight series.
They talked about it, though. That's about it. But, if that's an okay thing with them to do, instead of investing in a whole TV show, that they just do, like, direct movies, that's, like, similar to, like, direct-to-DVD, those cartoon movies that they're doing, but live action, I think that's... very interesting territory.
I find this ironic that this rumor comes out after what we talked about a few weeks ago, where Ike Perlmutter, the guy that runs Marvel Television and is part of Disney, split with
Feige.
With Kevin Feige. So now he's like, I could do my own TV movies that are part of Marvel Universe, getting a little on that movie action just on the TV side of it. So I think there's some weird stuff going on in Marvel Studios you need to sort out. So. Either way, I'm sure it'll be fine, whatever. Jessica Jones starts...
Couple weeks?
2 weeks, 20th, 21st, something like that? I don't remember.
I think 20th,
yeah.
I think
real soon.
So that means I have less than 20 days to read that omnibus.
You should. It's really good.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple things we want to talk about here, a couple shows we watched. I think seemingly, me and Charlie have to have a fight here.
Yes.
Not specifically comic book related, but there was a premiere of a very nerdy show that was just on the other night on Halloween itself. And that was Ash vs. the Evil Dead on Starz.
Yes.
The return of Bruce Campbell to the role of Ash Williams from Evil Dead 2, and not Army of Darkness, as I've heard, because they don't have the rights to talk about Army of Darkness, because it's a different studio. So this is a direct sequel to Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 only.
Aren't the first two different studios also? Because... So Charlie... Out of the blue, I'm going like the return things at Best Buy, right? I'm like, talking to the lady. Out of the blue, there's this massive person behind me, and it's Charlie. Hey, Toby. I was like, whoa, where'd you come from? then
Toby
he
has a very distinctive voice.
He found me based on my voice.
You didn't tell him you're tracking him?
Well, they just released they finally just released the Army of Darkness Collector's Edition Blu-ray that has like all the endings, the different cuts.
This is why
it's
Charlie was
the
at Best Buy.
4 versions of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So while we were at Best Buy trying to find this movie that was not on the shelves for some reason, even though it came out that week, I decided to look at the Blu-ray releases of the previous 2 movies, and they're on there. Maybe they're the same studio, but they're different distributor.
Yeah.
Distributors. Can't fucking say it. Distributors.
Jubilees.
All right, I
Anyway.
can't talk.
So, well, for whatever reason, they got the rights for Evil Dead 2, but not specifically Army of Darkness. So they kind
It's still a sequel to Army of Darkness. I don't care what they say. They may not acknowledge direct events in it to Army of Darkness, but this is the same team doing it.
It is the same writers. It is the same director. I mean,
Raimi is directing this?
Sam Raimi
The pilot.
wrote and directed the pilot. Bruce Campbell co-wrote it. And,
Is Ted Raimi part of it too?
No,
Not yet.
I forget the third guy's name. It's blank. I'm blanking on what his name is. But
So basically got the Hercules and Cena crew back together.
Well, they were the Evil Dead group.
Before that.
more.
All right. Fair enough.
There's only one problem. Kind of sucked really bad.
What?
No, it was kind of absolutely awesome and great, and
I just want
I
to
loved
see.
it.
I just want to
So-
see you both get your boomsticks out and
So
just go at
So
it.
if you listen to the Geek Box, which went up last night,
It did?
Holy
incredibly,
shitballs!
and which is
That
now
is amazing.
and which is now the standard, and will now be every week at Monday night after recording, short of major catastrophes. You will have heard me and Ryan Scott have a similar conversation I'm about to have with Charlie. I mean, I'm playing both myself and Ryan Scott, and Charlie is the internet. The internet loved the show. The reviews were like super, super positive, and I was kind of stoked. I watched it a couple days after, and I saw all these good reviews. I'm like, yes, and I watched it, and I was like, this is really bad. So there's things I liked. I thought the horror effects were pretty good. I like all the scenes of the Deadites, all the scenes of the Evil Dead. They kind of walk backwards, the spider work on the wall,
just like it did in like the movies.
Right,
it was directly out of the movies the way they did a lot of those effects.
Yeah, a lot of practical effects. I thought that was cool. I didn't hate the 2 new characters. I figured I would. They were all right, which is the best you can hope for. I thought there were definitely comedic elements. There were parts that I thought were really funny. The problem for me, and again, Charlie, you can rebuttal here if you want. I had 2 major problems with it. One, I thought the CG was among the worst CG I've seen in anything ever, and that includes like Sharknado level CG. It was really bad.
Sharknado is awesome.
There's a scene where he's being attacked by these
Did
dolls.
you get the Funko for that?
One doll.
Okay, there's a scene where he's being attacked by a doll.
Yes.
That CG was just it was terrible. And maybe they were trying to be bad on purpose. I don't know, but it was just bad.
To me, it.
And then hold on, there's a couple other scenes.
Does it go back to the time frame?
There's
of the special effects when it first came out.
There's a few. Well, no, because the special effects when it first came out were stop motion and practical effects.
Right.
There was really no CG in any of those movies.
Right.
So there's a couple other scenes. There's some great scenes of them blowing up heads and cutting off arms, but then there's a couple CG scenes of them blowing up someone's head, and it looks fucking like a cartoon. It looks stupid. And then probably one of the worst, it's not as bad as the doll scene, but there's a scene where Ash jumps up to get his chainsaw onto his arm, and it looks terrible. Just really bad, like green screen special effect. Really, really bad. And I don't know if they just have a budget.
Is it purposely?
That's what I'm
think it was done on purpose?
It's
for
purposely
comedy.
bad.
Well-
Yes, there is no practical way that scene could actually happen.
Hey,
but it's a TV show.
They might be able to get it in 1,000 takes, but they would get it in one.
Well, no, obviously it's going to be some sort of effect, but there's so many other ways to shoot that scene, and it looked really cheesy.
Well, a lot of pilots don't
Worked for me.
necessarily get like high dollar amounts for.
See, I don't
effects
even
and
think
stuff.
This
they
isn't like
should
a-
not have. So here's the thing about Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, all of those.
It's a joke.
All of those were done on a shit budget,
Right.
Shoestring budget.
basically.
Right.
It
Which
was,
is why they shouldn't have computer effects. So the scenes in the other movies where he has like things that like monsters attacking his face, it's him like holding something as it's hitting his own face with it, right? And it's cheesy and Three Stooges like in slapstick on purpose.
Oh God!
This is like
the
a
graveyard with him laying down all the graves.
It's perfect.
All the hands
coming in. It's so funny,
the Three
right?
Stooges eye poke and everything. Yeah,
but you know that's
fantastic.
just some dude sitting there with a fake arm just poking him in the face, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that they felt the need to use these 3D and computer effects on this, it just looked like shit. But hold on, you will have your chance, Charlie. But I'm going to say what is actually my least favorite part of the show, and that is Ash himself.
You're gonna get Charlie's boomstick.
In the movies, Ash is kind of a pussy in the first couple movies, and then he just becomes
his
this.
own hand flips him off.
Well, then he becomes this unstoppable killing machine, but he's kind of still this lovable loser. He's just a fucking scumbag in this show, and it's not Ash at all. He's like sleazing for fucking chicks at the bar and like banging some chick in the bar bathroom, and I'm like, what? And it's really bad. It's really
Hey, if you had to deal with
awkward
that
and
many deadites,
and
you'd be
uncomfortable.
sleazy too.
I mean, but they're still trying to play it up as like funny, and I'm like, this isn't funny. This is just sad.
What, banging some random chick in the back of a bar because you're a sleaze bag? That's pretty hilarious.
They're trying to play it up as funny, but it was like, this is just kind of sad. And then he's just kind of a dick to everyone, and like they get the lines, but it's like, well, okay, but I mean, maybe this should. I mean, I was worried when this was announced. I was really, really worried because I thought, man, maybe we don't need this. I mean, we have the movies. The movies are perfect.
And now you more worried?
I'm really worried for the rest of the show.
But you like the Muppets for some reason.
I love the Muppets. Yeah,
But there were scumbags in that one too.
Which got picked up for a full season.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think does this feel like a continuation to you? Does this feel like Ash to you? Because it doesn't at all to me.
So to me, it does, and this is one of those. So I don't really count Evil Dead 1 as part of the trilogy because Evil Dead 2 is a remake, much more in line.
Incorrect. For the love of fucking God, Evil Dead 2 is not a goddamn remake of Evil Dead 1. Charlie, you are wrong. The internet is wrong. Everyone is wrong. Evil Dead.
So you think
Everybody's been
Ash
telling
just
me that.
decided to go back to the same cabin?
He never left. It happens the next day. Evil Dead 1, they get to the cabin, all the fucking shit happens.
His girlfriend dies.
Yep.
He mysteriously gets a new girlfriend, takes her to the same cabin so she could be killed again.
No. You misunderstand this movie. Rewatch it. Here we go. I'm going to lay this out for you. Okay. Evil Dead happens.
They have said
welcome to the
in
Evil
the
Dead
commentary that it is a remake.
Nope. Here we go. Evil Dead happens.
Okay, when the creators of the show call it a remake, you are fucking wrong.
No.
Ooh,
Here we
Charlie
go.
used an F word.
Here's what happens. Evil Dead happens, start to finish. Okay, the very end scene of Evil Dead is day breaks. Ash is like, "Oh, I'm safe." Then here comes the Deadite, and it comes running up, bursts right through the cabin, hits him, and that's how the movie ends. Correct. Okay, so go to Evil Dead 2. The first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2, yes, remakes, quote unquote, Evil Dead 1. However, the scene is exactly the same scene as it starts. It rehashes and retells what happens in Evil Dead 1 in the first couple minutes of Evil Dead 2. Then the sun sets, the sun rises. The Evil Dead comes bursting through the cabin, hits him, and then you see the continuation of that scene. So technically, I guess yes. The first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2 is a remake of Evil Dead 1, but it continues the story. That he gets hit by the Evil Dead, he goes flying through the woods, fights it, blah blah blah. The other group come with the daughter of the scientist guy that had the book and everything, and that's the group that shows up. That's the next day. Now, Army of Darkness, also not a remake, not a continuation.
Not a continuation?
It is a continuation. The first 5 minutes of Evil Dead, the first 5 minutes of Army of Darkness retells the story of Evil Dead 1 and 2, kind of puts it all together into one really quick story, and then you pick it up. You chop off the first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2, you chop off the very end scene, because the end scene of Evil Dead 2 is him landing in the past, but it's different than how it picks up on Army of Darkness. So you cut off the first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2, the last 2 minutes of Evil Dead 2, You cut off the first 5 minutes of Army of Darkness. These 3 movies take place in 3 days. Charlie, you're wrong. Like, this is 100% correct. I don't know why you're arguing with me about this. Rewatch these movies.
Because I've listened to all the commentaries, I have read the books, I have done more research on the Evil Dead movies than you have.
Have you seen them?
Yes.
Do you disagree with me on this?
I completely disagree with you on this. Evil Dead 1 is a straight-up horror movie.
Yeah, it is.
Evil Dead 2 is not a straight-up horror movie.
It's a horror comedy. It's a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, you are correct.
The way they changed it for Evil Dead 2 essentially makes it a brand new movie.
No. The last scene of Evil Dead. The Deadite bursts through the cabin, hits Ash, cuts to black. Correct? That's how the movie ends? Correct. Do you remember? Correct.
I understand what you're saying, but you're wrong.
The first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2.
It's all right. Everybody's listening.
Okay, if you want to see them as a continuation, that's fine, but that is not the way the creators of the movies have explained it in commentaries and such.
Maybe they changed their mind or something, but if you watch the movie, how can you say it's not a continuation when the exact same scene from the end of movie 1 is 5 minutes into movie 2?
Because there are other characters that appear in the first one than just Ash and his girlfriend.
I know. Then they sort of, like I said, the beginning of Evil Dead 2 kind of retells the story.
And they reuse various scenes and instances later in the movie that happened in the first one in different ways.
It's another group come and the same thing happens, but Ash is already there. No? Anyway, okay. The story.
Now back to the new show. Now
back
that we're
to the new show. That's also kind of crappy.
Charlie, you can step on Ryan. You know that, right?
So the reality is, in Evil Dead 2, Ash had a girlfriend. He was apparently in love. He had the little locket that helped him kind of regain his humanity after the Deadites possessed him and all that. But if you look at Ash in Army of Darkness, it's the same kind of stuff. He's got the whole lines about that's just sugar talk, baby, and everything. He was all about lying, manipulation, scheming, being half-assed on things. It's very, very true to his character. Now, mind you, it was much more overt in this, in sort of like the opening scenes, but Ash has had 30 years to basically perfect his crap.
Well,
so technically it's more like Evil Dead 1.0 and Evil Dead 2.0.
I mean, I understand that if this is supposed to be a continuation of all these movies, I understand that because clearly it is. They've made him into a really unlikable character.
Maybe that's the point.
Okay.
I personally, I kind of see him as. I agree. At the very beginning, it makes him into a pretty unlikable character. But I also kind of feel like Ash is at his best when...
He's a dick?
Well, no. When the Deadites are around and when, like...
Yes.
It's just... What it kind of comes down to is he has spent the last 30 years running from his responsibilities and all of that. And because he fucks up, it all comes rushing back. And
right.
The first episode, in a lot of ways, is about Ash no longer being able to just pick up and run.
Oh, and the reason why they come back is the stupidest thing. He gets high and he's like trying to pick up some fucking other skeezy chick, and she's like, read me some poetry, baby. And he's like, all right, I'll read from fucking the Evil Dead from the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Yeah, okay. Like, what the fuck? This is stupid. Like,
I agree, it's stupid, but the reality is, I don't watch Evil Dead for the story.
Well, there is no story. I mean,
why would you watch those movies for a story?
Well, no, exactly.
Why?
I mean, the story is.
Why would you sit there and analyze this show?
Well, it
needs a story.
That's the problem. A 2-hour movie an hour and like 20-minute movie with no story is perfectly acceptable. A 13-episode TV series with no story becomes a problem. Maybe this shouldn't have been a TV show. Maybe it should have just been a movie of him kicking ass around.
Maybe you need to wait for episode 2 because then it'll be about an hour and a half.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it. I mean, no, the first episode was like 45 minutes long. It was
no, you got to wait for the next one, so it's almost as long as a movie.
So I'm I'm intrigued by a lot of the stuff they are doing outside of what they're doing with Ash, since you have sort of the cop chick and Lucy Lawless and all the stuff there. So
that's the plot, is what's up with all those people, because they're kind of like thrown in, you don't really know what's going on with them.
But I got what I wanted from this. I got Bruce Campbell kicking ass. I got weird battles with... So there are...
in the eye with a finger.
Talking about sort of the crazy effects you get into with Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and that kind of stuff. Like in Evil Dead 2, there's the scene where his girlfriend's head is biting his hand and he's running around smashing it against things, trying to get it off till he finally goes into the shed. That's essentially what we got with the doll, other than sort of the close-ups of the doll talking, was just all Bruce Campbell having the doll on his hand, smashing it around and all that. But no, actually the best scene for the Deadite action was in the house with the cop chick and her partner. That was the best scene with the Deadite
and that's what I was talking
premiere.
about.
But
yeah, I thought some of the CG when she blew up her partner's head was a little crappy, but the scene with the Deadite was great, and I like more of that, please. Yeah.
But all in all, by the time you get to that final scene where the new sidekick asks him, how does he feel? And he says, groovy. I got chills. I got a huge smile on my face, and I was ready for episode 2.
I mean, I hope it's good. So I hope it's better. I checked the box when he said groovy. I'm like, all right, cool. Yep, he said the line. So I want this to be amazing. And it was like, I don't know. It just...
All right, let's move on.
Maybe I wanted something... Maybe I actually didn't want it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Toby, you're surviving Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't started this season, but I've heard good things.
I'm seriously surprised by this new season.
Tell me about it.
You know me, I've given this show multiple chances, and multiple times I shot it down like hell because I really disliked it and because it's freaking boring and didn't care for the characters. Things have turned around all of a sudden. I mean, remember how we were saying things are really happening on The Flash? Like, this is happening, and they mentioned this in the next episode revealing it. It's kind of what's happening with Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. this year. Like, they got parole and boom, they were solving shit with it already. I was like, good. Things are moving on a really, really nice pace on Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. The characters are far more likable. There's some mysteries I really like and enjoy now. It's far better now. Coulson, my main thing with Coulson was always like, I wanted more in the shadows and more kind of, to be the puppet master in ways. And he kind of, well, not directly, but he sort of has become that character for me finally.
Yeah.
So... sure, they don't have the C and D and E-listers that I want in the show yet, but on the other hand, they're slowly getting into the Alias, Black Ops kind of show now, and working with the other group who they don't really know yet, who is the lady from Entourage, which is freaking awesome. I can't watch it without hearing her swear, but with Ari, but that's all right.
Oh,
but,
the publicist.
No, she's the other. She worked at the other firm that Ari like always like. She used to date Ari before he got married.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, the other. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so she's quite interesting, and I'm kind of floored. They even had the Martian episode, which really surprised me. But yeah, I have to give it up. I mean, we don't give that show enough credit on the show.
There's speculation during that episode that they actually introduced Death.
It's quite possible
because of the girl. They named her Death, and she killed.
Yeah, I mean, you see the character,
and you see the characters.
We don't know if it's Death for the cinematic universe, but some kind of cloaked person is there.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I am thoroughly surprised by this season, and I like I said, we don't give that show enough credit, and we always talk about Arrow and Flash. So Sunday night, I just kind of started with the first episode, and I couldn't stop watching it. I'm current. I literally watched all 5 episodes in one sitting.
Yeah.
Ironically, this season, for the most part, has felt to me like Angel. Like, it really reminds me in some way, and a large part of it is the big bad. I look at the big bad from this season, and it looks like he walked out of Angel to me.
Oh, that big bad. See, yeah. I think the show has multiple big bads now, which I kind of like.
Well, yeah, but yeah. I'm talking about that specific big bad, and ever since that character first showed up, there's more and more similarities I'm kind of seeing to, especially the later seasons of Angel. Like, not really the first season, but like
Angel
the
was
last-
one hell of a show. Yeah. If they're becoming more like Angel, so fine with me. If they become more like Alias, fine with, well, not the season 4 and 5, but fine with me. You know what I mean? It's definitely more watchable now, and I know there's been fans to begin with. So yeah, you win, I guess, with this season, not with the previous ones, but yeah. I've enjoyed it so far better than Flash and Arrow. I mean, up to this point, we're talking about first 4 episodes. We're not talking about the entire season. First 4 or 5 episodes, I think Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually beating out the other 2.
Cool. Yeah, because I thought season 2 of S.H.I.E.L.D. Started better. There were some good parts to it. I felt it got a little... The whole S.H.I.E.L.D. versus S.H.I.E.L.D. thing got a little confusing. It didn't make a lot of sense, and I thought the end of the finale, season 2 finale, was among the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. So with the whole, like, fish oil bullshit. So I've kind of been putting off starting season 3 because my interest is none. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
But I've heard a lot of people telling me, even people that have kind of given up on the show, like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, my interest was none. Also, up to last Sunday, I didn't want to watch it. Right?
Yeah.
I think I actually caught up on everything currently that I watch on TV, and basketball is over. I was like, I'm having a beer. I'm gonna sit down. I guess I'll watch this, and I was like, oh shit. 4 episodes later, oh shit! I guess I gotta watch one more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what I want to hear. So, again, I never wanted to hate Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Me neither. I mean, like I said, I never wanted to hate it, but
yeah,
it thoroughly surprised me this year.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I hope it keeps up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another show, I think a lot of people had some reservations on episode 1, although I liked it. Supergirl. Did anyone get a chance to see episode 2?
I saw episode 1. I liked it. I haven't seen episode 2.
I haven't seen 2 yet.
Okay.
Nope.
2 is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Like, really, really good.
Sweet.
Any of the kind of, you get that pilotitis.
Yeah,
sort of.
That's kind of, I mean, you get that vibe from episode 1 too.
Yeah. So it's moving at flash speed.
Sweet.
Okay.
They're already like, she's already going up against Astra, the villain, the kind of villain of the season.
Yeah.
The Helgrimmett, the villain of the episode's pretty cool, like good special effects. I'm
excited. I'll watch it tonight.
There's some real energy on it. There's a scene at the very end that I won't spoil, but we may already have another
first cameo. Yeah,
huh?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what you're talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
We may have the season 2 villain already getting lined up
That's cool.
as of episode 2.
Hell yeah.
Again, it feels different than Flash and Arrow. These shows all have their...
Well, it has to be. You really don't want.
Yeah.
You don't want the same shows over and over on TV.
And I
burn people out that way.
And when I don't mean this as in a negative way, there was a lot of, when you say girl power, I don't mean, I'm not trying to say, girl power, stupid. I'm not.
But you are, right? No, kidding.
No,
I'm
but
kidding.
It felt
Set yourself up.
They were kind of pushing.
They were aiming it specifically at a demographic with some of the scenes in the first episode.
I know what you're saying.
A little bit.
I know what you're saying. I actually agree with you.
A little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I love female characters. I love female heroes. I think they should be as many female characters as men or more. It doesn't matter. If it's a good character, good character. Toby, I know you're like me. Obviously, all the Bat family girls are some of the best characters in comics.
Best
right?
ever.
So Supergirl, she's a great character, and I've been really excited for this show. But I felt like, this should be a show for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And I feel they really pulled that back in the second episode, and it's just a really solid action.
I can't wait.
Good action.
I can't wait to watch.
It's comedy, there's drama. I mean, it hits every note, but it
Yeah.
still feels unique from Flash and Arrow. So if you were a little iffy on the pilot, check out episode 2. I think it's a really strong start.
Oh, it's awesome to hear.
I was very happy with it.
Can't wait.
So definitely.
You know why I didn't watch it?
Was it?
Because the Warriors freaking dismantled, disassembled.
The new
in
Warriors.
comics.
The new Warriors. They finally beat. They finally beat their supervillain.
Do not understand what they pulled off yesterday. My jaw was on the ground. I mean, they dismantled. I mean, it was
What did Speedball do this time? I'm so excited.
No, you don't understand, Ryan.
Oh,
Higgins.
the Warriors 3. The Thor.
Shut up, Ryan.
Thor's team
You don't
up.
understand. They beat the Grizzlies, Who?
The Grizzly, the Spider-Man
No.
villain. Yep.
They beat him by like 50
He's in
points.
Ant-Man right now.
Dude, you don't understand
that's right.
how big this was
That's
last
right.
night.
The Grizzlies are working with Ant-Man right now, so it's weird that he already turned to a life of crime.
Suck
But
so much right now.
So you didn't get to see Flash yet, but there was.
Well, I mean, nobody
really-
did. It's on tonight.
No,
I didn't.
No, last week's.
Last week's Flash and Arrow I have not
so
watched.
you missed Killer Shark.
Yeah, and you guys can spoil whatever you want.
That's
Oh
not
my
Killer Shark,
God.
King Shark.
King
King
Shark.
Shark.
Yeah, King Shark.
King Shark.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
God.
awesome.
Fantastic.
Looked
and it
amazing,
looked-
actually.
Oh my God. Yeah. There was no cheesy CGI on this
Yeah.
one. I promise
Well,
you. Oh my
well, it was
God.
all the money they had.
Yeah, it was all the money they had for that episode.
They blew the
in
season
the one
budget in
let's
that
just
one
say,
thing.
let's just say, instead of a whole episode of King Shark, we got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But
or
still-
less.
Like we got like
still-
30
less than
seconds
two.
maybe.
But
Yeah.
still, it was
But
amazing.
it's well worth it.
They did that with Grodd last season.
Yeah.
They did,
Right?
yep.
You know, they really shot that wad on a couple shots of Grodd that looked just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So,
But Arrow was good, and it set up this week's episode, which is going to be Constantine.
yep, very excited
So
for
I'm
Constantine.
excited.
So, yeah, my plan is Thursday, a double header of Flash and Arrow. So, I'm going to be caught up on everything. Very, very
How
excited.
about Walking Dead?
I watched I didn't realize it was an hour and a half.
I forgot.
Yeah.
So I only watched the first
I
half.
tried to watch that after my amazing basketball game, and I sadly fell asleep somewhere in the middle
I watched
of
it. It was good.
Someone's
Yeah, I
left
watched
off the
it.
credits, though.
Yeah, I think that's a red herring. But fucking turtles reference though. Fucking Morgan get trained by Eastman, who's wearing a reptilian save the reptilian shirt.
Oh, was his name Eastman?
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
It was
There's
C. Eastman.
somewhere, somebody at Walking Dead is a huge Turtles fan.
Nice. Yeah,
No,
I
it was
guess
the whole episode was Morgan's.
yeah, his kind of.
Well, it was his backstory to how he got from when Rick saw him in season 2,
yeah.
Right.
to
Season 2 when he was the nut job.
to where he is now.
Right.
And I thought it was done really, really well. I like when they pace. The pacing of Walking Dead. I like where they give you all of this stuff, and then they kind of slow it down and back it up a little bit, to kind of build you back up again. So
Well, that's one thing that feels somewhat unique about the show, and I know they've done a little bit in sort of like comic one-shots at this point to kind of go back
Yeah.
and do flashbacks, but in the show, occasionally they'll go back and do an episode that's a full flashback to the governor, or
Yeah,
in
they
this
did the
case,
governor.
But they always do it on a fucking cliffhanger.
yes, they do, and I'm sure that
Always!
is entirely intentional.
Of course.
I do find that interesting just because that's something that they don't really do in the comics. So I like the show for that. I like getting a little bit more of the history of some of these characters. And yeah, I really like this episode. I really like the characters and just how sort of contained it was. Like, you could show this episode to somebody who's never watched another episode of The Walking Dead, and it's got a complete story you can follow.
That is actually kind of
Yeah.
cool. Now, does he get a purple bandana at the end? Because he has to. He's Morgan's Donatello at this point.
You're now
No,
Donatello.
but there's a GIF with him having the purple bandana on.
Before we get to some questions here, unless there was anything else you guys specifically want to talk about, it's Patreon time, so we have to thank our good friends that have donated to us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy is where you can go to for as little as $1 a month, help support the podcast. And you get some cool backer rewards, get some thanks on the episode if you do that at the higher tiers. So we're going to thank Albert Soy,
Thank you, Albert.
who I did run into at Disneyland. He was there with his family doing the Halloween haunt. So that was
I heard he sacrificed his body and his time to save a spot.
Yep, he sat and he spent time to sit and wait for the fireworks. I spent money so I could get a reserved seating for the fireworks. It's all time or money, right? Time or money, one or the other. But his family had fun, we had fun our way, so it was all good.
Speaking of Halloween, did you see the Halloween costumes? Arsenal as Ursula from Little Mermaid.
No,
Oh, it's
I
freaking
saw
brilliant. And it was done by one of my buddies,
Oh,
Eric
cool.
Horn. Yeah,
Nice.
and two of his other buddies. He's been doing FX for special makeup effects for him for the last couple of Halloweens.
huh?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But as
For who?
Ursula,
For who?
For the guy who plays Arsenal on Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
He was Ursula. It was pretty brilliant,
Really?
dude. Oh, dude, it was brilliant.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was
I'll watch
quite
that.
good.
We have to thank Albert, of course, and his app Plant Everywhere. Go check that out. That's on iTunes and the iPhone. Jody Lawson as well at Canon, the Triad Comics anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Go to read his comics on there. It's good stuff. Also, we got all sorts of people here we got to thank. Again, if you want to be on this list of awesome people, go back.
It's the month beginning.
It is the beginning of the month. So let's go thank some awesome people here.
Yay.
At patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Let's thank our good friends Jeff Judkins, Christopher Stone, Wesley Thawne, Crosses and Owl, Mike Campbell, David Safar, Chris Noyes, who recently just moved. Hopefully you guys are all moved in. Good luck. Joshua Redding, Alex McHale, Sam Shea, Joel Jimenez, Armando Testani, Ivan Leskanik. Of course, I can never remember if I'm pronouncing these right. If I pronounce your name wrong, let me know.
It's his fault.
So I can
That's
fix it.
why I'm not reading the names.
Just call the shop in the middle of the night and leave a voicemail message.
Chris Palacki, Aaron Wright, Jason Thomas, Ocularis. I believe that's Don Ocularis. Michael Moore, Matthew Schnapp, Santiago Mendez, just Sloan, our good friend over at the in Marvel Universe, Peter Parker. Can't forget about him. Father Dante, Don Kilson, Mark Long, Edgar Marino, and Kevin Nguyen. Thank you guys very, very much for all your donations. And everyone.
Yes, thank you very, very much.
And every single person that donates to us every month on patreon.com. There's a bunch of you, so thank you all. You guys make this podcast run a lot smoother. Thank you very much. All right, you got a handful of Twitter questions here.
Fire away.
Let's see. Where do I start? Let's start with our good friend Stefano, who always has some great questions.
Yeah, and I also packed a big ass box for you to get soon. So
it's on its way.
It's on its way.
His question is: do you foresee a shift in the cycle of titles if the comic market adopts the season approach? That is 12 issues, 1 or 2 creative teams. And do you foresee creative teams becoming far more important to a title's success if comics are season-driven?
Well, they're far more important to begin with.
They should always be important.
Yes.
But this is Marvel has said that they're approaching their comics like a television season, where they are a 12 episodes, if you will, 13 episodes, and then they have a new season. So that's why you get 12, 15, 18 issues of a comic book, and then they relaunch it with a new number 1. But often with a new creative team these days. So, do you see the other companies taking that? Do you see Marvel holding on to that and doing it long term? Or is this a temporary...
I don't see Marvel holding on to it. They can't finish nine weeks of a freaking Secret Wars issue within 9 freaking months. So it's I don't think they can hold on to it at all. They can't hold on to a creative team that long.
Well, the question is: do they continue? Do we see numbers in the 50s and 60s and 80s and 100s again for Marvel, or is this the future?
I really don't like this approach. The main reason I don't like this approach, though, is if you're trying to model it off the idea of like a TV season or something, you get more than 3 stories in a TV season.
That's true. That's true.
Well, the thing is like books like the DC has their video game titles, which they kind of tier on kind of a seasonal thing, which is perfectly fine because it kind of fits with that model. Also with Buffy, they do their seasons and so on and so forth. And that I can understand. Like Doctor Who, if they did a seasons for the comic books, I could understand because it's already there. But with Marvel's big titles and DC's big titles, if I was to sit there and buy a Batman season 14 book, right, because we're 14 years into this.
Well, they're not going to be called seasons, though. They're going to be called Batman, Shadow of the Bat.
But that's the thing is it would be volume 14. So we would be referring to it as something season 14, volume 14, whatever. And it kind of just makes it, you're just making it like a maxi series.
They dropped the volume numbers on these books a long time ago.
Yeah, but this wouldn't be like this. It will almost be like a reboot after if it doesn't work, then you kind of just reboots it in ways. It's kind of what Marvel's been doing already for the last, I don't know how many years.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't seem to stick very well.
It could make a nice format for hardcovers, though.
It doesn't stick at all. That's the point. These books don't continue. Marvel's, the longest running series that Marvel's had in recent years has been, I believe, All New X-Men, which went 40 something before they ended it, and now are relaunching with the new number 1.
To be honest, the longest running Marvel book in recent years, even though it's like old now, it's Ultimate Spider-Man.
No, but they've renumbered that like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
No, I went to like 119.
Yes, but then they renumbered
Yeah, I'm
it
not
to number
talking about all the
1,
later
and then
stuff.
they
I
renumbered
stopped
it to
reading
number
after that.
1.
No, but that's what we're talking about again. There's no Marvel comic that has
Well,
reached
it's like
issue number
Captain
50.
America's like on what, volume 10, 12 now?
Again, there is no volume number. It's now just Captain America. Here's the year it's published.
Yeah.
They don't volume anything anymore, which is fine. Because in the bins, I just mark everything the year it started.
Yeah.
So, which is the better way to do it, because the volumes are meaningless when you renumber these things constantly.
But that's the thing is, I mean, I think then you're it's not the characters that are driving people to it; it's the creative teams that are driving people to it.
Pretty much.
Well,
and that's the thing is
always a combination of both.
Yeah, but a good combination of both does well for the sales of a book normally.
Yeah. Like I said, I think issue number is actually a very low reason why anyone reads a particular comic book. I would say it's 50. It's 49%.
We get people that are coming in here looking for old Batman issues from the New 52 because they picked it up at some random point and was like, "This is good," and
right.
they want the single issues, but they've read the trades.
It's 49%. Creative team, 49% character, 2% issue number. I mean, the issue numbers really are meaningless. It just
Except for if it's a number 1. That's why they keep doing it, though.
It's the variants are what
fine.
bump that up. By issue number 2, the sales are right back where they were. Right, the creative team will bump up sales regardless of what issue number it is. They didn't have to renumber Batman at number 1 for Batman Hush to have a huge boost in sales, or Green Arrow. Or, when a case like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, the book had been canceled for a while, so they restarted.
Well, see, I feel like they should have renumbered Batgirl when they redid it completely, because it feels so different.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much of a gap between the end of the Kyle and Rebirth.
They ended the Kyle run, a couple months later, Rebirth, and then the main series started.
Like, it was very planned at that point. It seemed that they had decided they were going to bring back Kyle.
The thing with that book ending was it ended on Kyle's reign as the Green Lantern, and then this new one was Hal coming back. So it was Hal's.
I mean, they didn't have to, but but
no. And I mean, all I'm basically saying is there are times when I am perfectly fine with a comic ending its numbering and restarting when significant things happen, like changing from Kyle to Hal. Mm-hmm. They probably should have even renumbered it number 1 back when they went from Hal to Kyle, but at the time they didn't.
Well,
and it just
that's the other thing
up.
too. Is you kind of limit yourself in the sense of, all right, well, we're going to renumber at 12, but it's technically still the same creative team as before. We're just trying to bump numbers for issue 1.
Well, yeah, they did that a whole bunch this time,
and that's the thing is like people get tired of that. They're like, why do I care anymore?
Well, like I said, I think the amount of people that are either add or drop a series because of the number 1 these days is very minimal, because it's now become such a standard practice. The New 52 was huge because DC had never really done anything like that before. No one had. You had people that really gravitated towards the Heroes Reborn stuff in the 90s, because
I fell into that.
Well, that was a huge event because Marvel had never done that before. But at this point, when you're on your 7th, 8th Spider-Man number 1, the amount of people willing to pick it up is, again, you'll get a lot of casual people that'll grab it because they'll be like, ooh, Spider-Man number 1, I didn't know about this. But the amount of regular readers that will, again, it's variant sales, it's creative team,
what are your amazing Spider-Man? What are your amazing Spider-Man numbers at number 2?
Exactly what they were
when they were before.
Exactly what they were before the series restarted. Number 1 obviously sold a lot more, but because of variant covers, because of incentives, because of all this other stuff. So, yeah,
I just think it makes it harder for the reader.
Yeah,
I'm so confused on single issues now.
Yeah. Well, so we have a question here from Eric who says, will a Marvel or DC series ever go over 100 issues again? DC's halfway there. Yeah. I mean, their books are getting close to 50, so I would.
But that's the thing is like Batman. If Snyder does Batman for 100 issues, and then they kind of redo it with a new creative team, and that was Snyder's 100 issues of Batman, like that.
Well, we're getting a new creative team on Batman. Capullo's leaving.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know who the artist is going to be. And it's not permanent. He's going to be gone for a while. But, DC has said they have no intention of renumbering their major titles again. Obviously, if a book gets canceled, a new book starts, that number will be changed. Something like Suicide Squad to New Suicide Squad, I mean, maybe they were just testing the market to see if it worked. But again, the only thing that sells more comics is different creative teams, or a new number one and its shitload of amount of variant covers, because there is a portion of people that will buy those variant covers. If they launched, X-Men number 714 with 45 variant covers, a lot of stores and a lot of people are going to like, oh, whatever. But at number one, they're more willing to try it. They're more willing to grab those. But
also,
again,
but also Marvel's variant structure anyway is garbage anyway. If they had like a set standard something,
it's an excuse. No. The number one is an excuse for Marvel to have a bunch of variants. But even those numbers, myself, other stores I've talked to, and you look at the sales charts, those top numbers, it's the amount of people buying every Scotty Young cover when it started was huge. Now it's dropping and dropping and dropping because there's so many of them that happen so often. So it's just getting oversaturated.
Well, I mean, your number one orders are lower and lower.
Well, I order a bunch of extra of the variant covers, but my orders in the main title are just what I expect I'm going to sell, and they're what I'll order a couple extra because it's a number one, but even that is like, most people don't care. Got a question here from our good friend Chris Noyes, who asks, my question from this weekend, is Mjolnir indestructible?
Meow meow?
Meow meow.
No, it's not.
No, I mean, I think it'd be destructible. I think it can be broken. I think it has been broken.
It's been broken. It's been reforged a couple times, actually.
Yeah.
But it's pretty damn close.
But its magic its magic is
the
Uru metal.
Uru metal is very
Uru.
Very what?
Or is it Uru? U-R-U, right?
Yeah, Uru.
U-R-U, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it's spelled?
Yeah, it's very, very...
yeah.
Oh, it's not vibranium?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not adamantine. It's not adamantium.
Yeah, what would win?
But it's very, very
Meow meow
strong.
or adamantium?
Oh,
adamantium. I think adamantium.
Really?
Adamantine.
Where's Thor's hammer?
All right, so
fully enchanted,
the original adamantium was actually called adamantine, and that's what Hercules' mace is made of.
So that's stronger than Thor's hammer?
It's on the same level. It's on the same level
because it's like
when
magic.
The hammer is fully enchanted and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, next question.
This is got super nerdy.
Chris's follow-up question is, what's everyone's favorite comic book weapons? Captain Cold's
a Green
gun.
Lantern ring.
Exactly.
Really? Captain Cold's gun?
Oh, Captain Cold's gun, of course. I love it.
Nightwing sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
Eskrima sticks, is that what they're called? Eskrima? Something like that?
I just thought they were Filipino fighting sticks.
Yeah.
I was also always partial to Star-Lord's guns.
Those are cool.
Yep.
I got to go with Captain America's shield.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
That's a classic.
The original shield. The original shield.
The silver one?
No.
The shield.
No, I'm talking about the triangle. I'm talking about the original adamantium vibranium mixture with the unknown element shield.
It's not that anymore?
No.
Oh, I'm missing out.
It's been reforged a couple times.
He had the energy.
Now it has Uru metal forged in there also.
He had the energy shield.
Oh my God, that was so horrible.
Oh, that was bad. Isn't Uru also Roz's assistant in the books?
Ubu.
Oh, Ubu. What happened to him? He's not on Arrow?
Yeah, he's not. Nope.
He's not in the movies?
Ubu. Nope.
No Ubu.
Got a question here from Joshua. He says, have you guys read any of the new Vertigo? Oh, we also didn't do our Marvel #1 talks this week. I'm still catching up on a few, but next week we'll do them all. Joshua says, do you guys have any? Have you read any of the new Vertigo #1s? If so, what are your thoughts?
I have picked up that Darwin Cook one.
I really like Clean Room by Gail Simone, he says. I have not read Clean Room yet.
I read Clean Room.
And I have not read Art Ops yet, which were the last two. What'd you think of those?
Art Ops, Mike Aldred's art works great in it.
Yeah.
The story was not good.
Okay.
As for Gail Simone's Clean Room,
yeah,
it was okay, but I don't really know what's going on.
Okay.
And then Survivors Club was the other one.
Yeah. Okay, so the other two were Survivors Club, which is the Darwin Cook. Oh, God. Who the fuck wrote that? Amir? No. Hold on. Let me grab it.
Survivors Club, and the one that's out this week is Unfollowed, or Unfollow.
All right, we'll keep talking while Ryan's
Well, sorry, no, I was thinking of Twilight Children. Twilight Children is the Gilbert Hernandez Darwin Cook book.
Yeah,
and
I didn't read that.
That was great. I really, really like Twilight Children. So Gilbert Hernandez, one of the Hernandez brothers. It's about these people that live. I'm actually not sure where they live. It's like a fishing town.
I've only looked at the pretty pictures. I didn't actually read it yet.
Well, there's this.
It is a gorgeous looking book, though.
Oh yeah, Darwin Cook's art's
I mean,
amazing.
I don't even know how many times I flipped through it. I haven't even started reading it yet.
There are these glowing balls that keep showing up, and people are like, "Oh,
that's right."
People are like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Many
There's just
books.
these balls that show up, and the government's kind of trying to come out to find out what's going on with them, and
Speedball's fucking with people in the Vertigo universe.
but there's some you don't really know what's going on, but it was an interesting I thought it was an interesting first issue, and Darwin Cook's art's always amazing.
Yeah, I liked it.
The other book was Survivor's Club by Lauren Bukis and Dale Halverson, and Ryan Kelly is the artist on that. I thought this was really bad.
I'm going to read number 2, but I was not really impressed with it.
It's these people that kind of like have survived like horror.
Yeah, like horrible things or magical, mystical.
It's like they've kind of like they're kind of the survivors of a horror movie.
Yeah.
So it's hack and slash?
Kind of have like a.
Isn't that
Cabin
what,
in the woods.
well, isn't that what hack and slash is about?
I never read Hack Slash.
She's basically. I
She
never
survived
read
like a horror movie,
Yeah,
right?
she basically survived, and that's the same. It sounds like the same premise.
Yeah, and so these people have kind of all gone crazy, but they have like a survivors club,
Yeah,
right?
it's like they go to meetings and
I didn't like it at all.
This one, I mean, I was going to give this one at least issue 2, but I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with it.
Yeah.
Unfollow's the one that's out this week, so I'm looking.
I'll
curious for that one.
I'll definitely read more.
I like how Jim has been flipping through the Twilight Children. Of course, she stops for, there's some jubiloos on the page. Of course, I said it wrong.
Jubilees.
Oh, I still say it wrong. I can't say it right.
All right, next question.
All right, and we gotta wrap up here. So let me read one more here. It's actually it's from good friend Travis. He asks, if not too retailer focused, but is going from UPS to FedEx for new shipments help that much? If you follow me on Twitter, you've heard me talk about this quite a bit.
I wouldn't say you talk about it. More vent is probably a better term.
Travis also runs Current Comics down in Salinas, so definitely go check those guys out if you're down there. So, yes, you may have heard us talk often about how annoying some of our comic shipments have been, late shipments, damaged shipments in the past. We had an independent trucking company for a long time that had its issues, but it was mostly fine.
Man, they just loved running over shipments.
Yeah, it was annoying. Then we moved to everything got moved over to UPS, which I've had issues with UPS in the past, but
I can tell you what Brown can do for you. Watch the beginning of Ace Ventura.
Well, I've had nothing. I didn't hate them. I just had my own weird issues with them, like everyone else probably does. But
You and I sat here and watched a guy put a big diamond box on its fucking side.
Yeah.
And then stack another one on its fucking side.
So when we started having shipments by UPS, I got to see the true UPS way, and that they are among the worst companies I've ever had to deal with in my entire life. We had entire weeks where our entire shipment was gone. Didn't get it till days later. We had every single week boxes damaged, thousands and thousands of dollars over the course of 6 months of damaged product, costing myself and Diamond and tens of thousands of dollars. And this is one store alone, having to reship stuff, ship products. This has cost Marvel and DC and all these other big companies money. The terrible customer service, could never get a hold of anyone, could never figure out anything. Slow as hell shipment. Whenever there was a problem, it was always UPS. So, Diamond's not perfect. We do have issues, but
Better than UPS.
having switched to FedEx, our rates are a little bit higher, which is going to happen. We get it shrink wrapped on a pallet. We pick it up off the dock. It is generally ready around the time it's supposed to be. I get here. The amount of damages we've had in the 4 months we've used UPS now, or FedEx now, the amount of damages we've had from shipping have been 0. I was filling a short box or more some weeks with damages, In 4 months, I have filled one short box of damages from Diamond. And that is like, oh, they shipped us 10 copies instead of one copy of a book.
Or
so 9 go in the box.
Or there was a book thrown in there and it got all bent and messed up.
Right, and that is the damages and the problems we're having now are 100% Diamond. As far as the shipping end goes, we have had flawless weeks.
Flawless victory.
Again, this week being maybe the worst. The truck was late. I basically didn't get back to the store until 1 p.m. That's an issue. It's gonna happen. But it happened with FedEx, and we would have
happened with UPS,
and it happened with UPS.
It happened with the trucking company.
With the trucking company. And again, when it happens with UPS, half the books are also damaged.
Well, so, when it happens with UPS, they just don't pick up the books.
Yeah, that happened a few times.
What happened with the original independent trucking company?
There were some issues with them. I think they were stopping some of the service. I know there were some problems with the dock pickup and everything, and it just did. And
they
we had
over shipments.
Well, that was something different. But we also had to pick up at 6 o'clock at the goddamn morning, which is too early for me. And I did that for like 8 years. So
you did? Seriously? Well, you woke up at 5?
Well, even longer than that. Charlie helped me for a little while with that.
Yeah.
When I first got the store, and I mean, we used to go and pick it up prior to that.
Can we tell people why Charlie helped you out with that?
Because you didn't have a...
Because I didn't have a car at the time. Yeah, I didn't drive. So, wow. But very shortly after I got that. So, yeah, I mean, we used them for, 7 years.
I'll settle for waking up early the once in a 4 or 5 months when I have to pick up Charlie to take him to the airport. That's good enough for me.
So, yes, definitely. FedEx has been a godsend.
For me going through, because I used to throw boxes, because we keep some of the boxes for shipping.
Yeah.
And I would throw away a ton of boxes just because of...
And they're black,
and
right?
And they're
dirty,
they're nasty.
Filthy.
Tire tracks
footsteps
on them.
It looked like they used them as a wheel chalk, for the plane.
Watch the beginning of Ace Ventura.
Oh, there would be full on like boot imprints on the top of them, just covered. I'm like, oh my god. I swear, the boxes we get from FedEx they're flawless. They're like golden brown, just perfect, right? So, look, even if I'm paying an extra $10, $20 a week for deliveries, I'm not losing hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars a week in sales.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I will never use UPS again unless, God forbid, I have to for our regular shipment. So because they can handle.
I'd say every box I get from Sideshow has a crush corner. From
UPS.
You remember my Gambit had a giant hole in the box?
Yeah. UPS can handle small packages. They are not built to handle 60-pound packages, and so you have to figure this is 400 comic books. They are not built to handle. Something
FedEx
like that.
is also kind of independent. I think they're like kind of they're franchises.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more. Customer oriented, people oriented, because it's like Mitchell or Guy Wrighton, he works for FedEx and his dad is one of the owners or works with one of the owners of this franchise, and so it's franchise, so it's like it's more of a network where UPS is just this put it on the boat, get it on there, move it, like it's all based on getting it somewhere, not how it gets there, if it gets there safely or in the same condition.
Yeah, I mean, we had even a couple things come from UPS this week, and it's like we've had the same asshole driver now for a couple years, and guys got a personality like a fucking brick. And
that's what you want to throw at his face all the time.
And every single time, I'm like, dude, you know our hours. You're here every day to drop something random off, because we get UPS shipments every day for some random little package. And they try to deliver at like 9:30 in the morning. They're like, oh, no, we'll come back tomorrow and deliver it. I'm like, bitch, no, you're not. You're bringing that back today. You know my hours. What are you doing here at 9:30 in the morning? I don't care what your route is. You're coming back. And they did. And it was like a nothing box. But I'm like, that's how you.
It's my box.
It's my box. Yeah. It doesn't matter what's in it. It's the fact that you're trying to deliver this shit at 9:30 in the morning. And far from the first time they've done that. And one time with FedEx, I got a delivery and they tried to deliver at 9 in the morning. And I called them up. I'm like, hey, the guy tried to deliver it, but we don't open till 11. They're like, oh, okay, he'll be back in like half an hour. Sure enough, half an hour later, driver rolled up and dropped it off. FedEx or the UPS, they're like, oh, no, we can't contact the driver. What a bunch of bullshit. Of course you can contact the driver. So
you're tracking that motherfucker.
I mean, that's a flat out lie that you can't contact the driver. Of course you can contact the driver. Yeah. So whatever. UPS is the worst.
No, we don't want to contact the driver.
And I'm not saying FedEx is flawless. I mean, there was some difficulty setting up the account. I mean, there's been some issues, but as far as the delivery of the packages, if your comic shop complains constantly about UPS, suggest to them to listen to this podcast and tell them, hey, they can contact me and I'll tell them what we did to set up our FedEx account. It's a little different. You kind of have to be a little flexible with your pickup time or your delivery time. But if you're having that many problems, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, or you could also, I mean, does cost a little more, but you can have the pallet delivered to the store.
Yeah.
I mean, you did that for the first couple of weeks, and
we did an AM delivery. I could have it delivered to the store. It just wouldn't show up till like the afternoon sometime, which is too late for us. But if you've got a store where you can deal with that, or if you're getting UPS deliveries already and it comes in the afternoon, you can get a palleted shrink wrap delivery by FedEx to your door for not much more, and sometimes less than UPS. Depending, the more you get, it's actually cheaper through FedEx. If it's smaller shipments, it's more expensive because they have minimum charges on freight. This is the horrible podcast I've ever recorded in my life. Like, no one is listening at this point.
Yeah, you're talking shipment stuff and bad mouthing Ash versus the walking. Yeah.
No. I just mean we're boring the hell out of everyone here. So I'm going to end this podcast. So thank you everyone for listening to the shipping conspiracy, where you can find out all about your current FedEx rates. Good Lord.
Can you ship those Jubilee things?
All our previous episodes are at geekbox.net. Don't forget to go there and listen. You can also listen to us on iTunes, where you can rate and review us and subscribe to us, which is all awesome things you should do.
And at some point in time, when we get some new ratings, Ryan will actually read some of them.
Maybe I will. Forums.geekbox.net and the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group. That is where you can talk to us. Go on there, talk to other listeners of the podcast, us, and other spam bots that get in there. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That's where you can go buy your digital comics.
Jim, are you having fun at the Facebook expense?
Part of Comixology. If you have a Comixology account, this is your shop. Go there and buy from us. We get some money instead of Apple or Microsoft. Fuck those guys. Patreon.com/comicconspiracy is where you can go to donate some money directly to our podcast. We love that as well, and we'll thank you on the podcast. SpiritofBrock.com. That's Brock's video pull list and blog. Go check that out. Infinite Longbox Podcast and the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That is Charlie's two other podcasts, where I'm sure he has lots of great things to say about Ash vs. Evil
Charlie,
Dead.
You're going to start an Evil Dead podcast, aren't you?
And I'd be the first.
I should at this point.
And I'd be the first one on it. I love Evil Dead. I love Army Darkness. I'm on Twitter, Ryan Higgins.
Notice
Ryan.
I didn't say Evil Dead 2.
I'm Ryan Higgins. Ryan. Evil Dead 2 is amazing. Brock is Brock Sager. Bryce Larson, who you can hear on the Bryce Briefly Patreon episode that's up right now, is at Larson Bryce. Toby's Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Jim is LD Exterminator on Twitter. Go at him.
Little Debbie.
Toby, you raised your hand.
Yeah.
You may speak.
I want to remind
Living
people
Dead.
to check out Visions of Punktown on Kickstarter for my buddy Sinclair Klugarsh.
Is this still going on?
It's still going on.
All right.
And also I want to say, Lord hit me up. He's saying a friend of his who bought a VIP pass to Heroes of Villains had a unfortunate thing in the family, so she can't go. So everybody that was going to buy a pass anyways, get in touch with me or with Lord directly. And she also has a picture up with Robbie, and the other one was with Steven, with Arrow and Diggle, basically.
Okay.
So if you were going to do that anyways...
That's very fortunate because I don't have tickets for Heroes and Villains yet.
Don't buy it
let's
because your
talk it
job's
afterwards,
going to
yeah.
send you away the second you buy it.
But yeah, if anybody was thinking about buying these anyways,
Yeah.
just hit us up.
Cool.
That'd be
right.
Or
appreciated.
they're just going to send you away because I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Geekbox Comedy Button,
You're
Good Job
welcome.
Brain, All Talk Podcast, Manga Machinations, some other podcasts on our little network. Don't forget to check those guys out as well. That's it. We have recorded an episode. We have fulfilled our duty for the week, and now we
You
are
said
going
duty.
to go so I can go home and watch more TV shows. Good night, everyone.